I did get from about 3 months ago. The other day, I got 3 QSL cards from Japan that I worked on 10 meters, and I got 1 card from Germany that I worked on 15 meters. So yeah, the bands are open. People work in the world.
Oh no, that is cool. You got QSL cards from these guys. Are they pretty or are they bland?
They're always the Japanese do. Sometimes some of them are pretty. You know, it just depends on what they do. The German card's very nice. The 3 Japanese cards, 2 of them were really nice, and one was black on a real pretty shade of yellow. So you know, I'll you know, if people do an effort, they put money into the cards, and sometimes you get where somebody just prints off a piece of paper on their on the computer. But any card, I'll take any card. I've got boxes and boxes of cards that I've gotten from all over the place. So you know, you just don't turn down a card. Whatever. Go ahead. Let's see.
Now, Bill, here's the deal I keep thinking back on. You know, my daughter Allison is an artist and did my little business card, but I want her to design your business card when you say, okay, this is what I want. She can do this all on the computer. I think that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, we'll see what happens. I got in mind what I'm going to. I might use a photo, but yeah, I'll let her know what I want. It'll be cool. Let's see, the other state. I think the other state. Tom, is that correct? Go ahead.
I think the shit's recording. I guess I'll find out soon.
Go ahead. Let's hear your input.
Yes,
what's up, cool kids?
Good evening, Mike and Annette, N6UX in La Mesa. Yes, I did submit my AWL January VHF contest log late Wednesday afternoon, so I was got in before the deadline.
We're listening to
did not do
some
winter
words on the scanner.
field day
And
too many schedule conflicts.
we're also looking at the 40-meter digital band, see if anybody's doing beat boops. Nothing
Sunday,
yet.
where I saw a number of people that actually make the Super Bowl commercials, part of my professional association that for the LA chapter.
There's a dude barely
I'm on
in there.
the board of that chapter. I used to be ahead of it. So I know how a lot of things sort of may break it down. Tomorrow night, San Diego Transfer Center will have their normal Saturday night 2-hour hunt despite the rain. Yesterday, I registered for National Association of Broadcasters Convention / show, got a hotel room, and probably see our host N6LXX at the amateur radio reception there, as I did last year. Hope everybody has a safe week despite the rain. Back to you, Net Controllers, N6UX.
Thank you very much there, Tim. Yeah, I've been to a couple of NABs, and it was
Can I get an audio check?
show, but that was a
Levels.
past life. I haven't been in that for a long time. So thanks again, and stay dry during the T-hunt tomorrow night. WA6OSB Ken in Santee. Welcome to the net tonight. Do you have anything to share with the group?
Good evening, Mike in the net, WA6OSB. And for Tim, if you run into Chris, ask him when he's going to get the 900 system up on San Miguel operating again. He's had a bad antenna on it for months and months and months. Anyhow, we had about, I think it was 1.45 inches of rain yesterday. It seemed to come down pretty much all at once after all that thunder and stuff. But not looking forward to tomorrow because I am going up to Temecula tomorrow for my granddaughter's shower, I guess it is.
Let everybody know that I'm on.
Expecting in March, and they're out here at her folks' place now, but they're living in back east. Anyhow, that's about it. So hope everybody has a good weekend and keep your powder dry. T6 TDP, W6OSB.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much there, Ken. Yeah, I hope this isn't
2 viewers.
your first
Hell
great
yeah.
grandchild.
New record.
But I know that's going to be
What's up?
quite an event for you guys.
Not even close to the first.
Okay, Ken. Thank you very much. And thanks for being there. Okay, N6 Zulu India Al in San Diego.
Hey.
Welcome to the net tonight. Do you have anything to share with the group?
Good evening, Mike and Annette. Yeah, it's only my third contact on 6 meters ever, and I've been a ham for a while. But I finally have a rig that does 6 meters. My second contact was on this
We
repeater.
got some
My first
dudes
contact
chatting
was on sideband
on 440.
station in New Mexico, I believe. I don't have an
And then
antenna
we're keeping
for
an
this
eye on
band.
40 meter digital.
I'm just loading up a wire, but seems to be very low SWR. So that's the story, and enjoy being on the net. So thanks for letting me in here. And back to net control. This is November 6th, Zulu, India.
Thank you very much, Sir Al. Believe it or not, depending on the band conditions, it's a magic band. You can probably make contacts, you know, even with a small little antenna, if the condition is great.
It's true.
Thank
You don't
you
need
again.
shit on 6 meters.
And hope to hear you again.
I did my first
Scott, KM6M
60 grid squares with a dipole.
Hermosa Beach. Welcome to the net tonight. Do you have anything to share with the group?
Yes, sir, Mike. Thank you very much for hosting the net. I'm glad I could check in on Friday this time around. Usually I just make it Wednesday throughout the week. But KK6M&M, Scott out in Hermosa Beach checking in here, and not much to say. I hope everybody has a safe weekend and tries to stay as dry as possible. And I'll hand it back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Scott, and glad you can make it Friday. And good to hear you. Nick, N5ICK, up in Rialto. Welcome to the net tonight, and do you have anything to share with the group?
What's up, Splain? How's it going?
No, not really. Just hope everyone have a great weekend.
Yospos. Yospos. I always say Yospos. I don't know.
By the way, you can check it to San Diego 6 meter net years ago when I was at Apple Valley.
Oh shit, first emote. That's appropriate.
Quite a pretty good way to see it here. Sometimes it's down there. But anyways, hope everyone have a great weekend. And we'll
Are you stymie?
N5
Thank you very much, Sir Nick. little
Hell
bit
yeah, I got
scratchy,
paid
but I did
nothing
hear
for
most
that
of the
Kingdom Hearts ad.
conversation. It's been a while
Smoka,
since
what's
you've
up?
been checking in,
Good to see you.
and you must be on a handheld right now.
Fuck yeah. I don't think I can be drunk on camera, but I think people in chat can be drunk. I think. I don't know.
Nice and clear. Thanks for being here.
Is that negative
That's
30
the
in
end of
moon
my
units
list.
or Fahrenheit?
Do we have any more check-ins
Yeah.
before we do the audio news?
C really is a better scale, but as a good God-fearing American patriot, I've got to stand for Fahrenheit. Actually, the best temperature scale is ranking. It's Fahrenheit size degrees, but it starts at absolute zero.
Amateur Radio Net, and we're going to go ahead and proceed over to the ARRL audio news.
Oh, here we go. Are they doing a news line? No, this is ARRL. All right, let's listen to the official biggest organization for hams newsletter.
A demanding agenda faced the ARRL Board of Directors when it convened for its annual meeting January 18th and 19th. Several new faces were around the table, with 4 newly elected ARRL directors, 1 newly elected vice director, and 1 recently appointed vice director. Attending for their first meeting as board members were Hudson Division Director Rhea Jiram, N2RJ, New England Division Director Fred Hopengarten, K1VR, Northwestern Division Director Mike Ritz, W7VO, and Roanoke Division Director George Bud Hippisley, W2RU. Also present were Northwestern Division Vice Director Mark Zarp, KB7HDX, and Rocky Mountain Division Vice Director Robert Wareham, N0ESQ, who was appointed last fall to fill a vacancy. The vote, the board authorized $485,000 to fund a project.
Yeah, I need to get some pictures of all my antennas and shit, because I've got a lot of stuff up in the air. I have no idea how I haven't gotten fucking, like, eviction notice for all that stuff yet. Well, I do. My landlord doesn't care,
The board
but
adopted an ARES plan as
it's still
recommended
weird,
by
kinda.
the Programs and Services Committee. Committee Chair Dale Williams said the ARES plan will establish training programs and 3 levels of ARES membership. The board received the report of ARRL CEO Howard Mickle, WB2ITX, who outlined plans to reorganize and refocus the activities at ARRL.
yeah, my big wire got taken down
Mickle
about a
said
month ago
providing
by the
better
wind. I
value
had
to
to throw it back
membership
up.
is a top priority, and he sees value creation and value delivery
I had to
as
get my
key
slingshot and
components to
fishing reel
long-term
out.
membership retention and growth. The board repealed the ARRL policy on board governance and
Yeet.
conduct of members of the board of directors and vice directors,
What up?
commonly known as the Code of Conduct, on an 11-3 vote with 1 abstention. As already announced, the board withdrew without prejudice to refiling ARRL's December 18th.
The annoying thing is that I've never gone live before, and when I did, like, my whole fucking Streamlabs changed. It's got all this social stuff on the main panel, and, like, I've got a preview pane, but I can't turn my windows on and off individually. I gotta figure out how to do that.
Re-examine and reappraise ARRL's regulatory and legislative policy with regard to private land use restrictions.
We're just handing dog shit. It probably ended up working better.
For those just getting started on their amateur radio journey, the podcast So Now What will launch on Thursday, March 7th, and new episodes will be posted every other Thursday, alternating new episode weeks with the ARRL The Doctor Is In podcast. Co-hosting So Now
Yeah,
What
we got
will
the
be
Barry
ARRL
LaCroix.
content producer Michelle Patnode, W3MVP, and ARRL station manager Joe Karsha, NJ1Q. Presented as a lively conversation with Patnode representing
Yeah, everything's
newer
gone to
hams and
icons,
Karsha the
though. Like,
veteran
I know, like,
operators, the podcast will
ugh.
explore questions that newer hams may have.
I don't want to fuck
and
up my
the
stream
issues that
right
keep
now. I guess I
participants
could.
from staying active
Doesn't
in the
really
hobby.
matter right now, huh?
Some episodes will feature guests to answer questions on specific topic areas.
Subs and donations.
Topics
I don't
to be
care.
discussed in the first several
Nobody's ever
episodes
gonna
include
donate to
getting
me.
started,
That's fine.
operating modes available to technician licensees, VEC licensing issues, sunspots and propagation, mobile operating, contesting, amateur radio and pop culture, and perceptions of technician license holders. Given the growing popularity of podcasts, ISCR believes that providing this information in a podcast format will of reaching out and engaging this particular part of the amateur radio community, which is important for building and maintaining amateur radio interest and activity. Listeners will be able to find the So Now What podcast on Apple iTunes, Blueberry, or Stitcher. Free registration required, or browse the site as a guest, and through the free Stitcher app for iOS, Kindle, or Android devices, or wherever you get your podcasts. Episodes will also be archived on the ARRL website.
I think her day job is doing like IVR, like voicemail system menus.
Known simply as Yoda, has spilled over into IARU Region 2. A group of a half dozen young radio operators, calling itself Team Exuberance, will visit the contest superstation of
Welcome to the
Tim
conference.
Duffy K3LR in late March for the CQ Worldwide WPX SSB event. The team was inspired in part by Yoda's youth contesting program in Europe, which arranges for youth IARU Region 1 members to participate in contests from Top Gun stations. Last year's YCP station host
Old hams are obsessed with getting young hams into the hobby, so they have youth on the air. They have all this stuff. It's like, it's borderline creepy. Like, I get what they're trying to do, but it's still weird. I don't know. Butcher, what up? How's it going?
And now with this week's satellite update, here's Bruce Page, KK5DO. Origami Sat-1 is now known as Fuji Oscar 98 or FO98. And Nexus, which launched at the same time,
I forgot to add my follow widget.
Fuji Oscar 99
It's okay.
or FO99. I spoke of maybe upgrading your station to receive the 5.8 gigahertz downlink from Origami Sat-1 or FO98. This is a bit more of a challenge than you might think. First of all, you have to have a 2-foot or 3-foot dish. You're going to have to keep it pointed at the satellite while correcting for Doppler. Doppler in this case,
This dude's
at such
kinda
a high
harsh.
frequency, can be a bit over 100 kilohertz. Then, with a short footprint of say 10 to 15 minutes, you really have to be spot on with all your equipment in order to receive the downlink. Think you're up to the challenge? It is worth giving it a shot if you're into microwaves. To make it even more of a challenge, it transmits for 5 seconds and is off for 10 seconds. We mentioned how
Yeah, this is like a syndicated audio newsletter type thing. They're doing a local rebroadcast of it.
Please keep your power down if you're going to use a satellite in order to
God, this
preserve the
dude's so,
batteries
like,
as much as possible.
shaking his finger at you.
KK5DO for
Do you
the
think you're up for
ARRL
this? By the way, don't fuck up.
This is the ARRL Audio News Propagation Forecast for Friday, February 1st. We have a small sunspot that will be sliding out of view within the next few days, and it's been tossing out a few solar flares. As a result, the solar
sunspot.
flux index has edged up to about 74, and there have been some reports of significant band openings on 15 meters. Better enjoy it while you can. We're also entering a stream of solar particles thanks to a big hole in the sun's atmosphere.
Thanks,
So
big
expect
hole.
some geomagnetic disruptions over the next several days or so. On VHF and UHF, all that dry Arctic air has really shut down the tropospheric band openings throughout the country, with one exception, the coasts of Oregon and Washington.
And that concludes ARRL Audio News for this week. Our thanks to all contributors to this week's report. ARRL Audio News is produced by the American Radio Relay League, the National Association for Amateur Radio. For more information
Part of
on
the reason
amateur
I'm getting a
radio or
haircut
the
and like
ARRL,
hacking off most of my
visit us
beard
on
is
the web
because
at arrl.org.
it like rubs
You can
on my
also find
mic and
us
like
on
makes
Facebook
stupid
and Twitter
noise.
by
So
searching
yeah,
for ARRL.
I'm
If you
that
have a
old
question
man.
or comment about ARRL Audio News, email us at audionews@arrl.org. This program is copyright ARRL, all rights reserved. 73, and thanks for listening.
That was this week's ARRL Audio News. This is Mike, KG6TDP, asking if there are any late check-ins.
I would check in, but I'd blow up the current radio we're listening on if I transmitted on another one.
Anyhow, take care of KU0873.
Good luck with the truck. Cars are very aggravating. I hate
I think
them.
it's scanned to a
We
different
have
channel.
To have them. K0SUM. I'll be on the side.
WB6FYR and WA6
Park it on there for a
for
bit.
allowing us to hold this net on their respective repeater systems.
Oh, they're done.
This is Mike, KG6TDP, thanking all of you for your participation. 73, and have a safe, dry weekend.
I'm gay. I don't have my key set up. I mean, I do, but it's not adjusted right now.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good weekend. Try to stay dry. Stay dry, my friends. And
there's tons of shit you can talk about on ham radio. You can talk about your radio.
All that fun stuff can
You can talk about your antenna.
I'm gonna watch probably about the first 15 minutes.
You can talk about a radio you used to own, or a radio you want to buy,
national anthem singing, which is very
or
important.
you can talk about your
And then watch
diseases.
the Thunderbirds fly over into that, and then play a couple more commercials, and I'll be off to other more important things. But
So yeah, the radio we're listening on right now, they're just running their mouth. I'll back it off a little bit. This is, it's called an ICOM PCR 1000. It looks like an SDR. It's a black box with a bunch of ports on it, but it's an actual like wideband receiver that basically doesn't have a faceplate, and it's controlled with a serial port. This program, Trunk PCR, this is literally the only piece of software that I've ever purchased because it's horrible nagware in their like shareware version. So I finally said, fucking fine, here's my $25, and I emailed the dude, and like, it took me a week to get my like license key for it because he of course ran like his own like SMTP server, as these old bastards do, and it kept getting spam blocked by Gmail, and I was like, dude, you have my money, where's my license key? And he's like, I sent it, and I finally dug through my spam filter and found it. But yeah, it's wonderful 1999 graphic design. And yeah, I had to hunt around for the right serial to USB to get all the shit working right. It's pretty frustrating. But these radios are really good. It'll go like 100 kilohertz all the way up to like, I want to say like 1.6 gigahertz or something, and it is unblocked. So it's one of those radios that is 10 years ago it was technically illegal to run in the States because you couldn't have a radio that would have the capability of listening to analog cell phones. Nobody really gives a shit about that anymore. But yeah, this thing is unblocked, and yeah, this just sends serial commands to it and then receives various data back from the radio. Like for the signal strength meter, it like pulls it 10 times a second. So it actually works the serial port really hard. I forget, I think I got it set at 19.2 right now. But yeah, there's a lot of data. So let's scan around and see if anybody else is on.
Good evening. The time is 10 o'clock p.m.
Yay. We'll probably hear all the repeaters ID now at the top of the hour.
p.m.
Yeah.
0FEZ repeater.
CRQ. WA6CRQ, this is W6CRQ.
Hi there. Okay, just beginning to get a little bit of rain here. Just a few little drops coming down. Surprisingly, there are people over in cabin 64. I don't know when they arrived, but they're there now.
64 is the Lawrences.
This is cute.
That's right.
Well, that is interesting. So, everything is set for the day tomorrow. You have firewood and all that stuff taken care of?
Aww.
Yep. I spent almost 2 hours on the total firewood deal. Well, not quite. I finished up just before 6 o'clock, and yes, I had quite a lot in.
Gee, you were out there in the dark then.
Just barely.
Okay, well, take it easy. When I walked Cayenne, came down the street, and I thought, what's the red light down the driveway? And it was the Model A, and I thought, okay, I'll try pulling out the brake pedal, and that seemed to work. I'll keep checking it to see if it slumps down again.
Well, I'm glad you noticed that. That has happened before, and it's very aggravating. Because of course, it runs the battery down. But thank you.
Of course. Okay, so, I mean, you know...
She just keyed up over him.
Well, do I need to check again tonight? I mean, that was an hour or so ago.
So I'll probably be getting a little bit wetter tomorrow than I would have had to otherwise. I hope they realize...
She got a little happy on the push to talk. Always wait for the beep.
I think I talked over you. You said something about getting wet tomorrow and you hope they're not stranded.
No, this is just a couple chatting. I think he's up in the woods camping, and she's holding down the homestead.
Oh, I was just talking about the battery running down, but on the Model A. But also saying that it's, you know, them being over there is going to make things a little more inconvenient for me from just a getting wet standpoint.
Yeah, I get it. That will be a little more inconvenient for sure. That is too bad. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they spend the night and all, because they could be stranded.
My guess is they're spending the night. They've got a fire going, and you know, I think they're going to be there. So I hope they understand that.
Yeah, I was actually going to set up, because this has like different banks you can load, like channel sets, and
I would think more than
I forgot that one of the few that I have not programmed in yet is all the local railroads. And Denver's a big rail hub, so there's lots of chatter. It's kind of cool.
Okay, take it easy, and we're in for the night also, so talk to you.
Oh, hell yeah, I'll screenshot the hell out of this.
By the way, were Valerie and Andy going to Mammoth?
We're not going to do slow scan TV tonight because it's not the right time of day for it. Right now, 40 meters, which is around 7 megahertz, this radio down here, is the only thing worth a shit. And there's not too much slow scan on the air on this band, but tomorrow it'll be hopping. There will be all kinds of dudes spamming like weird, like, not really porny pics, but just like European model pics. It's fucked up. But they'll post like eagles and 18-wheelers and shit too. But I've got all my memes and all my image macros set up.
WA6CRQ, W6CRQ, WA6CRQ there.
Glad to hear you guys still around the repeater. Been a while. WA6DVG.
They're just chatting away.
Yes, it has been a while. W6DVG, this is WA6CRQ.
No, like it's actually like due to the propagation. Like as the Earth rotates. Turn these idiots down for a sec. As the Earth rotates, like the sun excites different layers of the atmosphere, like ionizes different layers. So some layers get ionized during the day, some during the night, and depending on which layers get lit up by the sun and the solar wind, that's like what like wavelengths. That's really what's pertinent. Not the frequency, but the wavelength. But they're inextricably linked. It's just speed of light divided by wavelength is your frequency. But different wavelengths will bounce at different times of the day.
The last rain we had was moderately exciting up here. Most excitement we've had for...
Oh yeah, I got some sick slow scan memes. We're gonna crank shit out tomorrow. I'm really excited.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, if you could get the sturt event, I'll bet there would be some really...
yeah, clouds can do stuff. Some of the microwave guys that operate on like 10 gigahertz, they actually love rainstorms because they can literally bounce like over a mountain or over the horizon off of a rain cloud because it reflects really well off of rain at that frequency. So yeah, they'll just like aim at a cloud and bounce off the clouds.
Well, Victor, yeah, I have to make to get the
yeah, that's the whole point of long-range radio is you wait for the sun to light up the right layer of the atmosphere, and like we're talking like way above the stratosphere, like 100 kilometers up, like near edge of space type stuff. And then when that's reflective enough to radio signals, you'll hear things, and you'll be able to talk back and forth. And it's pretty much always a bidirectional thing. If you can hear somebody, you can probably talk back to them. I mean, all other things being equal, unless you like have a shitty low power station or something like that. But yeah, that's how it works. So like right now, like the 20 meter band, which is like 14 megahertz, it's dead as a doornail. But tomorrow at like 1 or 2 p.m. my time, it'll be packed full of signals. And then right around sundown, it'll just shit out again. And you go lower in frequency as the night goes on, and then as the sun comes out, you can go higher in frequency.
Okay, guys, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, the Jesus shortwave stations. We'll spin through those probably tomorrow. They're not very like worthwhile to listen to, but it's cool to pick them up and say, hey, listen to these Jesus Krispies. They're going nuts. And I wonder what they've been screaming about since the election. I wonder if they're like bitching about AOC on shortwave. That would be sick.
You're full quieting and your audio is fine.
Probably the most fun, like,
okay, guys, thanks a lot.
long distance propagation thing that I do is called meteor scatter. And basically, we always have meteors coming in to the Earth's atmosphere. And if they're big enough and they're coming in fast enough, they will ionize a trail of air up in the, like, about 80 kilometers up. And if you're set up right and on the right band, and you're transmitting at the right time, and the other guy is listening at the right time, you can bounce a signal like 1,500 miles. And on 6 meters, normally you can't get more than like 15 or 20 miles without propagation. So yeah, the only downside of that is that the best time for meteor scatter is early morning, like fucking 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So you gotta eat your Wheaties and get up. I may try a stream of that sometime, because I do get up now and then and like run scatter for an hour or two.
We're doing about 175 watts all solid state now.
I don't know, trolling guys is alright. They usually just get mad. Generally, what I do, I get saltiest on slow scan TV, because I do like talking to people. So it's a lot of fun, and I just kind of keep it civil and like stay out of politics and stay out of religion type stuff. Talk about gardening or the weather or, yes, radios. But slow scan TV, like there's a couple of guys. W2PTH is the worst motherfucker, and like he just transmits like picture of pretty lady all the time. Like that's his thing. He loves sending pictures of pretty lady, and so I've got pictures of like, obviously safe for work, but I got like some photos of like Bailey J and Chelsea Manning and AOC. So I'll send those back. So yeah, hopefully, obviously they don't know who any of those people are, but that's my little kind of shot back at them. Alright, those goobers seem to have signed off for now. Let's scan around and see if there's anybody else on the local shit. Pirate shit's super fun. I wish I had the nuts to do it, but I've heard that if you have a ham license and you get caught running a pirate broadcast station, they'll yank your license and or fine you like 10K. So I gotta figure out a good way to like get around it and like basically do it anonymously. I don't know. Supposedly Boulder has a really hoppin' pirate scene, but I can't pick any of the stations up because they're all flea power. Is there somebody actually on 145? This is the most active repeater in the area. Nah, they just kerchunked. Yeah, there was one Boulder pirate station that had a really interesting tactic. So they did a remote setup, and they built basically disposable transmitters that took a Wi-Fi audio, like a streaming feed, and then they would contact dedicated listeners, and they would literally park a van, like an old shitty van they bought. They would park it on this listener's property, fire up the transmitter, and then connect it to like whatever free Wi-Fi was around. So the FCC would show up. They'd say, hey, there's an illegal transmitter running. Did you know this? And they're like, no, somebody just like asked us if we could put it on our property. And if you're not running it, if you don't know what it is, the FCC won't like slap you with a fine. So the FCC would take the transmitter out of the van, shut it down, confiscate it, but they could never get to the original studio site. They didn't know where they were coming from. So like literally for like a year and a half or 2 years, like the pirates just kept making these like shitty low power transmitters with a streaming input, and they'd talk to different people around town, and then whenever one got popped, they'd just move it to another site. So the FCC couldn't really link the transmitters to the actual pirates, and they're not organized or aggro enough to actually bust the people that just had this van on their lot. And the FCC can't like confiscate your van or anything like that. So they just take the gear, throw it out, and then like 2 days later, the pirates would throw out a new one. Oh shit, he's got the wrench. He's gonna hit me with a wrench.
KXN repeater. The time is 10 p.m.
Good evening.
The big thing in the UK, which of course they were super big on pirate radio for a long time, was they just do like pre-recorded shows and then do the throwaway transmitter thing with a tape deck playing. Alright, the repeaters have gone quiet. Everybody's just kerchunking. Kerchunking is when you just key your radio up on a repeater, and since they have like a 5-second squelch tail and they might ID, it annoys everybody else that's scanning the band because their radio will stop, but there's nobody actually talking. It just like keys up for 5 seconds and makes everybody's scanner stop, and people fucking hate it. But as Cat5 said, it is the highest mode of ham operation. I'll get into number stations a bit, but it's like, it's entertaining in that, you know, it is some spy shit, but I mean, it's like one-time pad encrypted, so there's no way that anybody can ever find out what the hell they're sending. Yeah, they're pretty boring. Though there are a couple now, they're suspected Cuban, but not only do they do like 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, like that kind of spam, but they're like shitting out like 5 seconds of data packets of some sort, like every 30 seconds. Like you hear this like burst of data, and then 17739, you know, that type of thing. So it might be interesting to try to at least demodulate those, in that we'd get the ones and zeros in some sort of data format, but I'm sure it's still like hard crypto, and there's no way without the key that it would make any sense. There's a lot of military radio teletype RTTY stations that they just shit out like tons of RF all the time, 24/7, and they're one-time pad encrypted, so nobody can ever figure out what's going on. They're almost just like a beacon, like, hey, this is coming in well, the propagation must be good. Matter of fact, we can see there's one down on the 75-meter band. Let's see if we can pick it up. Let's switch radios here a little bit. This dude's talking. There's a bunch of dudes on 75 meters tonight. Yeah, here you go. This is a military RTTY station. And it's just like encrypted 45 baud data. Nobody knows what it is, but it's always there 24/7. So it's good to see if your radio is like literally picking up any signals at all, but you're never going to get anything interesting out of it. over-the-horizon radar is actually, there was a bunch of chatter about it about 6 months ago, because the Chinese spun up a shitload of new OTH transmitters, like right up northeastern China, firing like basically more northeast towards Alaska, and nobody was covering that area with OTH radar for like 20 years, and then basically right after Cheeto Bitch got elected, China's like, hey, we got a bunch of new radar. And the thing about OTH radar is that it's specifically for detecting high altitude bombers and ICBMs. So yeah, like people got a little salty about it and thought we were going to war with China. Do I have a thing about my neck? No, I'm just kind of fat, so I look funny and my beard's huge. Alright, that's enough Deedles for now. Let's listen to some old bastards for a little bit. Also, my chair sucks right now. I've used it for many years and it's super dead.
Arizona, northern Arizona. Mike's out there in Napperville, Illinois. And then some people haven't even come back to yet. Not to be rude, Will in Lower Lake, California, and Ken in Bullhead City. So, Tom, back to you and throw it around. See if anybody can hear you.
Roger, roger. Okay, I'll step on the key here and we'll see if anybody else can pick me up out there. Whiskey 7, Lima, Tango Foxtrot. We're standing by and listening.
Yeah, I got pretty bad posture. It's just a thing. No, my neck's good. It's a beautiful neck. Too fucking hairy right now, but it's a neck. Also, I'm really bad at doing this. It's a bad habit.
Sounds like somebody a few kgs down, but I do hear you in there. Go ahead.
What we have is all truncated, interpolated crap. I don't know.
Yeah, the computer toucher swatch. So these guys, because there's a carrier there, I know that they're running AM. There we go. So they're actually using amplitude modulation, like the shit that we use for like AM radio. This is how hams talked on voice from like 1930 through like 65 or so.
In about 10 to 15 minutes. This last is level 4, that's Michael.
It's a little better than the R388 now. So, anyway, I got a couple pretty good receivers here. And I got one of these, it's a solid state receiver.
But the thing about these dudes is that all they talk about is their radios. Like, these guys are worse than like anybody else on the band, because what they do is they buy old like AM broadcast transmitters and hack them and modify them to transmit up here on these frequencies, and they're super fucking proud. And like, the transmitters are great. It's like 3 full height 19-inch racks full of gear, and like it takes like 220. So some of them even take like 480, which I don't know how they do that. But just huge transmitters, and they're great and they're awesome, but that's all they talk about. So we'll move on. But you can tell that they're transmitting AM because there's that carrier tone in there. And the normal voice on these bands does not use a carrier tone, which is why when I'm tuned off frequency, they sound all weird and chipmunked. You ain't bugging me. That is a motivation for me to go buy a better chair like I've been thinking about doing for the past year, though. Maybe that'll help.
Man, that's a lot of stuff.
At least you're not trolling me about my thumbs. Look at those absolute units. Yeah, I may suck it up and try to find a used Aeron. No, I've got big thumbs. It's called brachydactyly. If you Google Megan Fox thumbs, we have the same condition. It's just our thumb bones are a little bit wider. But yeah, Megan Fox thumbs. Yeah, I drink a lot of LaCroix. It's LaCroix because that's how they pronounce it in LaCroix, Wisconsin, which is where the shit's from. Deal with it. This stuff is just like somebody's like laptop charger somewhere on the block. That's not any intelligent signal.
When I did this, I looked to see who retrieving license and trust the application history, right? I go to the retrieving application with the KFCC, and I go to the bottom of the page with the retrieving pending application petition.
Oh god, they're bitching about ULS.
All the way on the bottom.
ULS is the FCC licensing system. So basically back around 97, 98, there was a flood in the basement of the FCC headquarters, and they lost literally all paper license records. So like my original license that was on file with the FCC from 91 got destroyed. It no longer exists. So after that, they're like, all right, well, everything's gone. We're going to take this shit online. And they built this horrible system with the slowest search engine, and like I don't know if it like runs on a fucking Spark station or what, but it's the slowest, worst website. It's extremely federal government vibes. But since the shutdown was in effect for like what 40 days or something, hams were raging because if they got a new license or if they got an upgraded license or renewed their license, the FCC wasn't processing those. So like all over like the subreddit and all over Twitter, people were like, oh my god, I can't operate, fuck the FCC. And I was like, well, there's like a 70% chance that you voted for this in the first place. So they just came back on and everybody's jumping for joy that they're actually getting their licenses, but they're still like 3 weeks backed up because of course there's, you know, some old lady named Martha that's still like hand stamping these and like mimeographing them, and then they put it in the digital system, and that's when you're actually legal. Yeah, press F for the FCC. These guys are pretty boring. Sounds like all the local hams have died out too on the scanner there. It's not stopping on much of anything.
There's ones that are on the need list of the top 50. They have very nice QSL cards, and you can collect those. I've got hundreds of them here from all over the world that are just beautiful with just all sorts of colors of people, landscapes, guys operating. I mean, they're just four-fold cards, and they look great.
Can't really hear the other guy. It's no fun when you can only hear one side. Shit's super annoying. That's what we have to deal with. Everybody's fucking laptop chargers and wall warts.
And that's why I had in 76. I know when I had that.
Talking about radios. And that's as low as it goes for any voice stuff. So we'll do another quick spin. I'm gonna hop off in a few minutes, but we're gonna go back up to the 40-meter band, see if anybody's still poking around. sucks though. The knob feel on this radio actually sucks. It is not nearly as good as some of my other radios. It's smooth, it works okay, but every 6 months the screws that hold the encoder to the panel loosen, and I have to rip the front off this radio and like tighten it back down. I should just Loctite it next time, I guess, but it's super annoying. That was interesting, so let's see.
Or Hal, as he goes by on the air, I just wondered if that had ever happened, or if you stumbled across Hal in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. I'm assuming Harold is still alive, because of course, I don't peruse the SK columns. But I haven't heard from him now for about 10 years, and I just, we were childhood buddies.
SK means silent key, means you're dead.
He got off into other things, and he didn't want to make any improvements to the station there so we could stay in better communications, and we just drifted apart. So I was just curious if you'd ever run across him, over.
Sad story. Yeah, I can't hear the other guy.
The compression I did 50% of that now got the audio to perfection on that tone stage and sound like $1 million. Boy, when you think that's 100 watts, that radio's talking up a storm. I'd always leave it on 100 watts. Don't say that the guy as straight as you just to hear you. And the only thing you showed us about 500 watts of audio power, or some kind of little amplifier, you know. Are you just running a wire? Oh, you said G5 RB. How high is it?
Yeah, the other guy was only running 100 watts. No way we're going to listen to him. These dudes all run like fucking 1200 watts of power to... Sometimes their antennas aren't that high up, but generally the big signals, they got some ridiculous retired engineer money and big towers and huge antennas and an amp that dims the house lights when they key up. So the range of the 40 meter band from 7.2 to 7.3 is a ham band, and it's an international shortwave band. And it's super annoying because it's not a shortwave band in the Western Hemisphere, but it is in the Eastern. So if the propagation is, we'll say right, but it's actually wrong here, you'll get all of these weird European shortwave stations that basically transmit on top of you, and all you can do is move. They're not coming in that strong. You can kind of hear. Just faint, kind of. I can tell it's there because of the carrier signal. That tone right there. Yeah, it's fun to like try to figure out where things are. We'll do a couple shortwave sessions. I'll get a station list set up, and we'll just tear through everything and see what we can pick up. Alright, so these dudes are super annoying. This is a net or an online meeting that happens every night, and these dudes are trying to get the Worked All States award. So you get a little plaque if you talk to people in all 50 states. So this is basically an every night meetup of people that you check in and they take your name down, and then you get 3 calls, so you can contact up to 3 other people or attempt to. and they blatantly like bullshit your like signal reports, because you have to have like an established contact. Like each end has to be able to hear the other and communicate a signal report. Say you're coming in this well, and exchange call signs to get the award. And you'll hear so many times like people like in the middle relaying, and dudes will just scream like over and over, "You're 4-4, 4-4, 4-4," just like yelling it, trying to make it through during like a lull in the static or whatever. And they're just like basically barely complying with the letter of the rules for the awards. But they love getting their Worked All States awards. I can't switch my display to red. This radio is like 18 years old. But in like a month or two, I'm buying a couple of very, very fancy radios that I've been wanting for like, well, one of them isn't even on the market yet. But the bands that it covers and the things that it does, I've got a couple of radios that do that. I'll pan the mic or the camera over. Like these two radios here. Can't really see shit because of my lamp there. But these are VHF and UHF radios. And I use those to primarily talk on satellites. And we'll do satellite shit too, but it requires a lot of prep and coordination. It's not like a casual just hop on and talk to people thing. But these radios are good, but they're also 20 and 30 years old. So I'm buying a very fancy new one in a little bit. And we're gonna do a live unboxing, because like the one in particular, I'm buying a matching pair of two different models, but they look the same. But one of them has been delayed, and I've been really excited about it for a long time, and I've been saving my money, and I've got this stack of hundreds ready to go for it. So I'll be excited when I get that. So the Worked All States guys are boring. Alright, I'm gonna kill it in about 5 minutes, so let's see if we can go down to some chill shit. And see if we can tune in my favorite dudes. Radio Havana, Cuba is the strongest foreign shortwave station because they basically beam shit straight at the US. So they're really easy to pick up. And I know enough Spanish to kind of follow along, but it's more fun to listen when they have English broadcasts, which are usually earlier in the day.
Members of the OAS, the Secretary General went ahead and recognized
there we go, they got an English feed.
President. Those developments had the effect of deeming the OAS unsuitable to be an honest broker in a situation where we believe dialogue and negotiation is what is required to bring stability to the Venezuelan situation.
I'm not sure if this is Cuba or not. Oh yeah. That definitely is.
And following a meeting earlier this week with a delegation from the Caribbean.
Wow, you got a 996? That's nice. I've got a 396. So it's basically the same thing, but the handheld one. But yeah, the 996 is a very solid radio. What's cool is it's exactly DIN size, so if you want to rip your car radio out, it'll slide right in a lot of cars.
Declared himself interim president.
Yeah, I remember buying my 396. It was 2005, and like I saved up for that shit for like 2 or 3 months, and like ate ramen and all that, and finally got it. And I still have it, and it works fine. Fortunately, Denver has not gone crypto, like actual in-town Denver, city of Denver, but all the suburbs, they like 100% crypto everything. Like if you go out to like Edgewater or here in Lakewood, because like all the cops do, like they're bored as shit here, so everything's like cryptoed all the time, and they basically just drive around and like pull people over for like driving while Hispanic and shit like that. So they don't want anybody listening in. But Denver uses an old ass analog system, and you can listen to lots of cool shit on their stuff. I'll get my actual trunking scanner set up, and we'll do some cop listening stuff because it's kind of fun sometimes. Because like they run like Vice Ops and shit on there too in the clear. Like they don't care. And if they need to crypto anything, it's 4 words. Call my cell phone, and like cops and dispatch talk on their like cell phones all the time, and that's what they do in Denver City when they want crypto.
And here comes Secretary General, Ambassador Irwin LaRoque. In their meeting with Gutierrez,
yeah, like if even like in like mass market like entertainment, like when's the last time you saw a cop pick up a radio and talk to somebody on it versus just flipping open their cell phone?
Which calls on states to refrain from the threat or the use of force. It further said the grouping has been consistent.
All right, I've been going for like over an hour. I'm amazed that you guys hung with me. So we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. I'm gonna be on tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be archiving all this stuff to YouTube in case anything really cool ever pops up on the air. So thanks everybody for listening. I'm gonna keep polishing stuff up. I'm gonna make some more Streamlabs templates and do more cool shit. And yeah, everybody have a great night. I don't have any like patter like sign off message. So y'all be good as shit. I'm gonna shut it down, and we'll catch up real soon. Tune in tomorrow if you can, and we're gonna plan to do this Wednesday nights and Saturday afternoons. Yes, we can get some emotes in chat. All right, goons. Y'all be good. Have a good night. Peace.